Welcome to the show. Now please strap in for the truth and remember the words of the great Tom Cruise.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Now welcome to Off Topic on Porn.
All right, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever this may find you. We are back on Off Topic on Point. Again, I am Rob Looper, here with buddies in the O-Top world. Russell, how's it going?
Going well, Rob. How are you doing tonight?
Cold, very cold. It is below
I'll bet.
zero here where I live, so bundled up, trying to stay warm. You know, we've had a bunch of snow that's now on top of the ice that's just making it all worthwhile, I guess, you know. So we're cold and it's only making the snow ice, and now it's ice on snow, whatever. I don't know. It's fun. So,
That seems to be the name of the game these days.
it does. Winter is upon us. So, and we are also joined by James. What's up, buddy?
Big James.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
So
great. It's been a long week, but everything's good.
So how cold is it where you guys are in San Antonio? Is it cold, or are you guys back in the warm weather?
I think it was like 28 degrees. I think that's the low. That's been the low today, which is cool for us in San Antonio.
That is cool for you. We would love to hit 28, by the way. We're like I think we were like at 8 today with a negative 15 wind chill factor. So like it was like they're like, don't go outside, you'll die. And I'm like, I'm not sure we'll die, but you know, and there's like this winter warning where they're like, stay inside. It's so cold. Frostbite will happen. I'm like, all right, cool. So whatever. But
death is imminent.
Death will be upon you. Not death as you suppose. We don't grieve like those who have no hope, but we do freeze like those who have hope or have no hope. Doesn't matter. Freezing is still, it's regardless. It's no respect of person.
I think you should become winter Texans, brother.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll be snowbirds. We'll go south for
come
the
on
winter.
down, man. We got a room right across the hall here.
That's right. It'll be like, yeah. So, but it's cold. Like I don't mind the
you stay at
cold.
the congregation's facility.
That's right. I don't mind the cold, to be honest. I mean, I like the cold, being a big guy, but seriously, man, this is cold. Like it hurts your feelings cold. You know what I mean? Like you're out there. Joel, my oldest, made a comment today. He's like, it'll turn your soul blue. It's so cold outside. So, so I was like, that's a good one, because it is that cold, to be honest. So anyway, it was, it's cold. So stay warm, stay safe, bundle up. And if you're where I live, don't go outside, stay inside where it's warm. So, but no, anyway, it's cold. So we're done with that topic, because how long can you say it's cold before everybody knows? But anyway, so you guys are having some interesting stuff happening in San Antonio. You guys were telling me about the Uvalde police officer, which that's an interesting story. So James, why don't you kind of fill us in on that, and we'll just kind of round
that
topic
one.
that.
See, the thing is, I think most people who's been keeping up with what's going on in Uvalde don't realize this. But Uvalde is only about an hour or so west of San Antonio. It's west. It's in rural. It's like 2 counties over from where San Antonio is. This huge national story, and everyone talks about Texas and being gun country. Here you have a Uvalde police officer, and a jury has just acquitted officer. Let's see if I can get his name. Adrian Gonzalez. He was the first officer on the scene. He was supposed to go in and stop the bad guy. 19 people were killed. He refused to go inside. I'm not going in there. It's too dangerous. I guess being a police officer has its disadvantages. You might get shot.
Sure.
But what's interesting about this is that we're living in a day and age where it's becoming too dangerous to work in law enforcement, and I think that's kind of a bad sign, because if we can't call the cops to defend us, then we really are in a stuck position.
Right. Well, I mean, if it's too dangerous for police officers to defend us, then we really have a problem. I mean, and honestly, if you look, I mean, it's so, to riff off of this a little bit and to expand it even, when you look at the general populace that are attacking law enforcement officials of all kinds, not just this guy or whatever.
Yeah.
It becomes a banana republic. So no longer is law enforcement respected. It is targeted. Well, again, I don't know the whole story of him and James, you're telling us, and Russell, you know the story too, so you guys can better help us understand that. But when police officers who just want to make it home to their family, they want to do their job, make it home to their family, when they're being targeted, all of a sudden their job becomes imminently more dangerous. That's a problem. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden when you say, hey, I need, you call 911, I need a police officer, and all of a sudden they can't get there, or when they get there, it's too dangerous for them to go in. That becomes a problem for the ordinary citizens at that point, So, I don't. You guys will have to fill us in more on the story of whether or not he should have gone in, or because you said he was found innocent, I guess.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing that I always say. I know everyone says don't own guns. We don't need. No one in America needs to own a gun. We don't need to defend ourselves. We have the police for that.
Right.
So there's no reason for any private citizen to own a firearm. And I've always said, wait a second. I don't want to put my safety in the hands of someone who may or may not want to go in to protect me.
Right. And this is a perfect example of that.
Like this just kind of emphasizes why we need the Second Amendment.
Right.
I need to defend myself, regardless of who's going to show up or not.
Well, absolutely.
And you need to defend yourself as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, and see this, I think this will take us into another topic we want to talk about. So help me understand this. I don't believe Minnesota is a gun carrying state. Would I be right or wrong on that? I think I'm right, actually. I don't think.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
I think I'm right about that. And here's the thing. It's a blue state, right? Yeah, exactly. And don't get me wrong. That place is a circus right now. There's a whole lot of things we could talk about Minnesota, but that's not. But the part we're talking about is that I guess the riot that was incited by Don Lemon to go and go into the church, where again nobody has any, and obviously the criminals do. Let's be clear, because the laws don't apply to them; they only apply to the law-abiding citizens, right? So evidently, and I know Russell has very strong feelings about this, so I'll let him comment first. That Don Lemon was indicted for his role in the in that whole thing. So Russell, we'll let you start this round robin.
Yeah, so that did happen. And here's the thing I want people to remember, and people who are not fair-minded about this won't absorb this, but it was just a few short years ago that the other administration was doing things like sending law enforcement officials out to arrest parents for going to school board meetings to point out things like heinous literature being in schools of kids, where kids had access to porn and porn-related literature, and it was, and there were people that were being intimidated as far as things like tax returns, and there was this threat that the IRS was going to swell to, I think, was it another 11,000 agents or something, so that they could go out and get every dime that they could possibly get out of the population. So this was an accosting of the American population.
Right.
And then there's the, there was something about the financial services industry I was going to mention, and it slips my mind now. But there's just these things that have happened. And these voices that are defending Don Lemon now in the media, they didn't open their fool mouths about any of it. They were perfectly fine when clear constitutional atrocities were taking place. Now that it's Don Lemon and he's under indictment, all of a sudden they're all coming out of the woodworks of the media, And I mean, you can just pretty much all of the major news outlets are trying to defend him. They're bringing people on and raising rhetorical questions about whether it's right for a journalist to have to undergo this. Look, I don't know where we ever got this idea that if you're a journalist, you got this bubble around you that protects you from things that are clearly illegal that you shouldn't be doing. But when you're participating with a group of people that are getting ready to violate people's First Amendment rights, you are a party to that. And yeah, you ought to be arrested, and you ought to be tried. Now, he needs to be tried because it's a fair thing to do for him, but that should happen. And just because I don't care if your name's Don Lemon, I don't care if you're a non-white individual, and I don't care if you are a practicing homosexual. None of that stuff shields anybody, and it shouldn't shield you anyway, because that stuff is irrelevant to any point that is being discussed in this situation. But guess who made it a point? The news outlets have made it a point, and Don Lemon himself has made it a point, and it's a complete non sequitur. Just because these things are true about him doesn't mean that it gives rise truly to the notion that that's why he's being targeted. But that's the narrative that's floating out there. And there are many foolish people that will buy into that narrative because it feels good to their ears to do that. It's a mess.
Yeah. And Russell, can I rip off that? Because
please.
If the OTOP family knows this, but I've been a journalist for about 30 years or so.
That's what your degree's in.
Yeah, I have a degree in journalism. I've studied media law, and I've studied these issues. And the thing is, the only way Don Lemon is protected is if he were engaging in news reporting.
Yes.
And he wasn't. He was actively involved in inciting a riot. He was disrupting a legal worship service. I mean, you cross the line when you cease being a disinterested observer and actively participating in, an illegal activity. That's on you. Yeah, that's where these people aren't getting it.
So now, James, you're an activist.
Let me do this. Let me see if I can break because for people who are like me, I want to say the normal person. Let me see if we can break this down a little bit. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and let me just get okay. So you're saying, and I want to make sure I understand so that everybody else does too. The problem was he ceased from having a pen and paper and saying 6 people walked into a church and were rioting in this church. He stopped doing that, and he was saying to people, let's go into the church and let's do that. Let's riot. You need to take back this. They're doing this. And he incited them to riot and was a part of that riot. Would that be a correct, fair?
That's a fair way of it. That's a fair assessment. That's exactly right.
Okay. So because he wasn't in the terms of reporting on it, that's where, again, to draw a word picture, he's standing on the sidewalk writing what is happening. Basically, let's call it a narrative. This is what is going on. This is who is doing what. And you could even then say, well, he didn't do anything. Well, okay, but he was reporting. Journalism is telling everybody what's going on. So he's protected there. Where it stops being protected is where he's got a microphone and he is saying, we should do this. You should do this. Join me in this illegal act. Is that correct?
Yes. Let's storm this church.
Let's storm the church and let's do violence. Let's do bodily harm to these people.
This pastor is an ICE agent.
Right. And we need to stop him and let us go, take matters into our own hands. So that's where it becomes non-protected. Would that be fair?
Right. Yeah, it's not. We have the right to peaceable assembly.
Sure. Peaceable. Non-violent.
That happens in the public sector. Now, people play games with that, but that's typically outside or in some government entity facility, not in a privately owned congregational facility, church facility, where a particular church is gathering. You have a right to assume that you're not going to be accosted upon by these or anyone else. Sure. And so so the people going in there and committing basically a soft riot inside the church, being disruptive, they have violated the constitutional rights of those Americans. That is illegal. Yeah. First Amendment. It is illegal. People need to wrap their minds around this. If you're breaking the Constitution, you are committing a crime.
Yep. Well, and an easy way to understand this, my grandfather, he's not with us anymore, but he taught me when I was a child a real easy way to understand this. My rights stop where your rights start. So when those people walked into that church, they were violating somebody else's rights. So that's where theirs stopped.
They weren't invited in. At least they weren't invited in any way that, in most congregations, they will tell you everybody's welcome here, right? Sure. But they're not saying you're welcome to come in and do just anything you want to do.
And riot.
People are not welcome to go in and riot. They're not welcome to go in and shoot the congregation up. They're not welcome to go in there. So
you're welcome to come in and be a part of what we're doing.
Let's stop playing these games. I mean, they know what they were doing, and Don Lemon knows what they were doing, and Don Lemon knows what he was doing.
Right.
And unfortunately, I guess he wasn't as well researched on what would happen if he did what he did. He wasn't well researched on what the law actually said about what he was getting ready to do, and he got snagged. And now
Well,
he's
and
got to rely on people who are tossing, oh, people are anti-gay, people are anti-black man, he's a black gay man. All those kinds of things are being lobbed out there.
yeah,
Right.
And there's a lot of very soft-brained people out there who buy into that kind of
Right.
argumentation.
Well, and I think the thing, Russell, you say, and I think it's interesting to note, and we need to probably make sure that we do, is this: congregations are very welcoming. You are welcome to come and join us in our worship
Yeah.
service. You are welcome to join in with us. Join in, not
Yeah, you're not welcome to
to do your own
preempt and,
thing.
and
Yeah,
usurp what we're
preempt you.
doing.
No, you are welcome
You
to
can come in
join
and join in
with
because
us
we are
in
here for a
worship.
purpose.
Yes.
This is our place. This is
Right.
where we meet, and this is not your place.
Right,
So
so
it'd be like somebody coming into my house and trying to commit atrocities
Right,
and
it's exactly.
and do things, get in my wife's face
Right,
and,
no,
and
exactly.
get in my grandma's face and
Right.
stuff. I
Well,
mean,
it's a real easy way to do this as well.
not
is-
saying not anyway.
No, but
It's
exactly.
by way of illustration,
But another
or get into my kid's face or
Right.
get into whatever, or start hurting
Right.
people, right?
But another way to understand this too is it's like when you go to a hockey game. You go to a hockey game. You do not then decide you want to start playing football. It's not going to work. You go to a hockey game and you're welcome to sit, watch, or go,
Well,
participate.
in principle, yes. But here's the thing. It's not just that they're, because, all right, we got guys in our congregation. I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, but we got people that are members of our congregation. And they go in and in the middle of the sermon, they'll be playing video games in the middle of the service. Well, you're not really welcome to do that.
No,
but
you're really not.
but we've got people who do it, and some
Right.
of them are in leadership. So it's,
Yeah.
but here's the thing. There's that, and that's not welcome, but that's a part of they're a part of the congregation.
But they're
as it
not
were,
being
okay?
disruptive either. When
That's-
they're doing
that's
it,
right.
they're not being disruptive while doing it.
That's right. So there is a way to do something that is really not sanctioned, but it's, as you just said, not that's
Non-disruptive.
good, Rob, not disruptive.
Right.
But when you come in and you these people are not superimposing
Right.
a different event
Right.
upon the church.
Exactly.
But that's what was going on there, and it was violent.
Yes, it was.
And it was very intimidating.
Yeah.
which was exactly the point.
Right. Exactly.
Yes,
Yeah.
James, exactly.
That was- yeah, to be
Exactly.
intimidating.
So no, I mean, is Don Lemon getting his just desserts? Yeah. And you know what? Here's the thing. If it were flipped, if this were Jeremiah Wright's church and I went in there and did exactly the same thing, or James did maybe, because he's the black conservative and Lord knows you can't be that. Oh, they
yeah.
wouldn't say squat for him. Do you
No.
think they would defend James?
Well, and
No,
not
they
only
would be
that,
castigating him. He's the black face of white supremacy and all the other idiotic things that you hear
Right.
coming out of the left these days.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
No, and I think, but
One-
So this is conveniently placed, as always,
Right.
yeah.
One of the things I want to point out with this is that people are saying Trump is out to get them. The DOJ is out to get them. No. A grand jury indicted him.
Right.
Yeah.
Not the president, not the attorney
Well,
general.
and I think this goes
It's
back
great.
to the world we live in, with a lot of sound bites and a lot of people saying things. The president can indict anybody, okay? And then,
Right.
well,
Only a grand jury.
he uses the DOJ's. Okay, fine, okay. But here's the thing: it still takes 12 jurors, okay, to do this. And right now, depending on where you are, and I'm not saying, again, I'm not coming down on either side. Okay, this is to me, this is apolitical, meaning it's not. Depending on where you have that jury, there are people who don't like the president right now. You may find a very sympathetic one that says, "Hey, I don't like him." So it goes back to this: it takes 12 people to make that guilty verdict. So it doesn't matter. Sometimes when people go, "Well, the president's out to get him," that may not serve him. That may not be the best thing when it comes to if you're in a very blue state where there's a lot of people who don't like him. So saying that doesn't actually mean a lot. So you have
Yeah.
to be, so this whole rhetoric is just to inflame. And again, I'm not a big fan of there's just everybody on both. Everybody's doing this inflammatory. It doesn't, Russell, you made the point. The other side was doing this and nobody said anything about it. There's a lot of inflammatory stuff being said.
Well,
And to be honest, here's what I want to hear. And you made the point, and James started it, and Russell, you followed it up. What does the law say? And the law says this. I don't care who's out to get who.
Yeah.
The law
Yeah.
says you can't do this. So he broke the law, and it doesn't matter whether you are gay, straight, black, white, yellow, brown, whether you're from Mars. If you come here and you break the law, then there are consequences for breaking.
Or if you're already here and you break the law, which is
Exactly.
what's going on here.
Exactly.
And here, it seems like I recall not so long ago, there was a different administration in the White House, and the guy that's in the White House now was arrested and taken and
Yeah.
mugshotted.
Yeah.
Seems like I remember that happening.
That's true. So,
And none of these same voices came to his defense.
no.
Right. That's true.
So,
And the reasons they're offering up for Don Lemon being quote unquote targeted, I guess it's okay to target a white man who has what's called a heterosexual. I get tired of these definitions. I really do. But in these terms, all these special terms that have been foisted upon us by what's that?
Cisgender, white cisgender.
Yeah, see, it's like that's a contrived phrase, and people just throw it out there like okay, it's a legitimate part of the conversation. I don't think it is. I think it's illegitimate, but that's neither here nor there right now. We could talk about that another time. But and then the whole thing was bogus. Russiagate was bogus. I mean, they threw everything but the kitchen sink. Oh boy, we've impeached him twice. This president will always have the stigma of having been impeached twice. Well, yeah, by people who are biased,
Right.
and we're using the levers of government for their own personal. That's right. That's right. So, and we all see this. We see this, and the people who like them see it too. They just don't want to say anything. So now that he is in the White House, and now that his administration is the FBI, the FBI is under his administration, and so is the federal law enforcement across the board. Well, they're going to get some things done. That's what the Biden administration was doing. We're going to go out there and we're going to fulfill our agenda. Well, he's fulfilling his. But the difference is he actually is staying within the bounds of what is legal and what the courts are saying. He is. So anyway, that's my commentary on it.
Well, and on that, because we've mentioned the Constitution a couple of times. So Russell, you had wanted to, as we close, just real quickly, you had wanted to talk just briefly about the taking advantage and kind of exploiting the birthright citizenship clause of the Constitution.
Yeah, that's a big thing that actually the Supreme Court's going to be hearing about that, and hopefully they will land on the correct side of that. Birthright citizenship it's like open borders. It's a contrivance, but more than that, it is a manipulation, once again, by the left, by those who are trying to deconstruct our country so that globalists can run everything in the world. And that really is going on. It's not a conspiracy theory. That has been demonstrated to be so multiple times. That's another thing we could talk about on another podcast. But yeah, there is actually, let me just kind of shortcut this if I could, because I know we're running low on time here.
Yeah.
There is a book that I heard about on a radio show that I listen to in the mornings here in San Antonio. It's on radio station KTSA 550 on your AM dial. And here, Central Standard Time at 6 a.m. is the Ware and Rima show. And it's probably the biggest radio show in South Central Texas. I think they cover 99 counties or something like that. So the reason I'm bringing them up is they had a man named Peter Schweitzer on this past Thursday's broadcast. So I guess that would have been the 29th.
Yeah.
And I really would encourage everyone to go listen to like the first half hour of that. You don't have to listen. The show's 4 hours long. You don't have to listen to the whole thing, but go to the first half hour of the show and listen to the interview that Trey Ware and Trey and Sean both talked to him, but it was mostly Trey Ware talking with Peter Schweitzer. Peter Schweitzer is a prolific researcher and author, and he wrote his latest book is called The Invisible Coup, and you can see I picked up my own copy. I picked up my copy when I heard this interview the other day. I immediately went onto Amazon and ordered it, and I'm reading it right now. Here's what it says on the cover here, Robin James. It says, "The invisible coup is here. The names, the money, the machine, all exposed for the first time. Mexico's," and here's some bullet points on the back. Mexico's election plot unmasked, how Mexico's 50-plus consulates are running a shadow campaign to sway U.S. elections. That's guys from Mexico at the Mexican consulate offices in the different states around the country, banding together to interfere with our politics. They're not supposed to do that.
Well,
CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, CCP spy money, a spy money spigot is exposed. The U.S. visa program designed by a Chinese spy that lets Beijing pour tens of millions into our elections to influence them. He also talks about the president of the United States foreign voter trick revealed that's what he calls it, how 3 American presidents minted unvetted instant citizens, including criminals, to stack up the voter rolls. And I won't read all of these here, but like here's one bullet point that says, "Shock confession: the Mexican president admits that mass migration is a tool to reclaim and conquer Reconquista America's Southwest." Now that's California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, but going up into Colorado and Utah and that area. Okay, that's that whole stolen lands narrative.
Didn't you say there was one as well about China sending?
Yeah, I'm getting to that one right now, actually.
Go ahead.
The Manchurian generation ballot flood. More than 1 million Chinese with U.S. citizenship who grew up on the communist mainland will soon start voting in American elections. The way that happens is this is a calculated thing that this was and is still a calculated thing that the Chinese government has been doing since, I believe he said, if I remember correctly, since around 2011. They fly upwards of 100,000 pregnant women who are getting ready to deliver to the United States to have their children here. When they have the children here, they're U.S. citizens if birthright citizenship is actually a thing. So then they fly back and they get raised with Chinese Communist Party ideology, and then they get sent back here to mess with our elections as quote-unquote citizens of the United States. This is why the Supreme Court and their efforts upcoming to judge on what birthright citizenship is actually all about, that's coming up here in the Supreme Court soon, I think later this year. It's pretty important.
Yeah.
We need to see that whole idea struck down. It's ridiculous to think that you can come into the United States, have a baby, and that baby has natural citizen rights when they have no connection to who we are as a nation or as a people.
Right. No, absolutely.
So that's it. That's my comment on all of that, guys. I commend. We can put a link to the podcast. It's now a podcast episode.
Okay.
We'll put a link to that and to the book here on Amazon.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we'll have that in the description, and we'll have that in the comments as well for you. So if you want to click on that, check it out. We'll have that, and you can like and share, subscribe, tell your friends. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them. You can let us know at otopnow@gmail.com. We'll be happy to talk to you. Respond and have conversations with you. So again, like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, have somebody comment, let us know. Leave a comment. We'd love that. We'd love to hear from you. So gentlemen, it's been great. It's all, as always, enjoy talking with you, enjoy doing this. And so, we will say this as we always do at the close. You don't have to be on topic. You can be off topic, but you must always be on point. We encourage you to stay warm and stay safe, and we will see you on the next episode of Off Topic On Point. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for listening today to Off Topic On Point. We want to remind you of our email address if you'd like to contact us. It's otopnow@gmail.com. That's otopnow@gmail.com. And as always, we want to leave you with this. It's okay to be off topic. Just make sure you're always on point. All right. We'll catch you on the next episode. Bye-bye.